If your parents were very strict growing up, you're probably still paying for it today. Have you ever noticed how some people feel guilty for relaxing? They finish their work, clean the house, answer the messages, take care of responsibilities, and then the moment they finally sit down to rest, a strange feeling appears. A quiet pressure, a voice that says, "You should be doing something. You're wasting time. You're falling behind." Even when there's nothing urgent to do, the guilt remains. And for a lot of people, that feeling didn't start in adulthood. It started much earlier, sometimes in homes where rules mattered more than feelings, where mistakes felt expensive, where approval had to be earned, where being a good child meant being careful, responsible, obedient, and productive. And once you understand what growing up with strict parents can do to the mind, a lot of adult behaviors suddenly start making uncomfortable sense. Because here's what most people miss. Being raised by strict parents doesn't only teach behavior. It teaches emotional survival strategies. It teaches your nervous system what feels safe, what feels dangerous, what earns approval, what risks criticism. And those lessons often stay with people long after childhood ends. That's why some adults still feel nervous making small decisions, not because they're incapable. Because somewhere deep down, making the wrong choice still feels emotionally risky. You stand in a store deciding between two simple options. You rewrite a text message 3 times. You spend 20 minutes choosing what to say in a meeting. And logically, you know none of this should. But emotionally, your brain is still acting like mistakes have consequences larger than they really do. And this is where it gets interesting. Many people raised by strict parents become extremely responsible. From the outside, they often look successful, reliable, hardworking, mature. They remember deadlines. They keep promises. They think ahead. People trust them. But what others rarely see is the invisible pressure running underneath everything. Because responsibility feels less like a choice and more like a requirement. A requirement that never fully switches off. Even during rest. Even during vacations. Even during moments that are supposed to feel peaceful. Part of the brain stays alert. Monitoring. Preparing. Making sure nothing goes wrong. And honestly, let me show you something subtle. A lot of people raised by strict parents struggle with self-compassion. Not because they're harsh people, but because they learned to motivate themselves through criticism. If they got a good grade, the focus moved to the next one. If they achieved something, attention shifted to what still needed improvement. If they made a mistake, the mistake received more attention than the success. Over time, the brain learns something dangerous. Nothing is ever enough. No achievement feels complete. No progress feels satisfying for very long, because the finish line keeps moving. And years later, that voice often becomes internal. The parent isn't even there anymore. But the pressure remains. Now, instead of hearing criticism from someone else, you hear it from yourself. You miss a workout. You criticize yourself. You make a small mistake. You criticize yourself. You take a day off. You criticize yourself. And eventually, self-criticism starts sounding like normal thinking. But it isn't. It's learned. And this is one reason so many people feel emotionally tired, even when their lives look stable from the outside. The pressure didn't disappear. Another thing people rarely talk about is how strict parenting can affect emotional expression. Some children learn very early that certain emotions create problems. Maybe anger wasn't welcome. Maybe sadness was dismissed. Maybe anxiety was ignored. Maybe vulnerability felt unsafe. So instead of expressing emotions openly, they learn to manage them quietly, to hide them, to control them. At first, that adaptation can be useful. It helps a child avoid conflict, avoid criticism, avoid judgment. But later in life, it creates a strange contradiction. You want people to understand you, but you struggle to let them see what's really happening inside. You want support, but asking for help feels uncomfortable. You want connection, but vulnerability feels risky, and suddenly relationships become confusing because part of you wants closeness, and another part is constantly protecting itself. That's why some people raised by strict parents become extremely independent, not because they don't need people, because needing people feels unfamiliar, or unsafe, or uncomfortable. They carry everything themselves. Stress, problems, anxiety, pressure, responsibilities. and eventually they become the person everyone depends on. But secretly, they often feel exhausted because carrying everything alone was never actually the goal. It was just the survival strategy they learned. And here's another pattern people don't always recognize. Many adults raised by strict parents become highly sensitive to criticism, not because they're weak, not because they can't handle feedback, because criticism activates old emotional memories. A simple comment can suddenly feel bigger than it is. A suggestion feels personal. A disagreement feels threatening. A correction stays in your head for hours, and you find yourself replaying conversations long after everyone else has forgotten them. The strange part is that you often know you're overthinking, but your nervous system reacts anyway. Because emotional learning happens deeper than logic. Your body remembers experiences your conscious mind has already moved past. And modern life makes this even harder. Now feedback is everywhere. Performance reviews, social media, comments, messages, comparisons, opinions, judgments. The opportunities to feel evaluated never really stop. So people who already learned to associate approval with safety often find themselves trapped in a cycle of constant self-monitoring. How do I sound? Did I say that correctly? Do they like me? Did I upset them? Am I doing enough? Am I falling behind? And eventually life starts feeling less like an experience and more like a test you're constantly trying to pass. So when adulthood arrives and nobody is giving instructions anymore, uncertainty feels uncomfortable. You second-guess yourself. You look for reassurance. You ask other people what they think. You worry about making the wrong choice, even when the decision is small. Because confidence isn't just about competence, it's about trusting your own judgment. And if that trust wasn't encouraged growing up, it can take years. Now here's the part that many people find surprisingly emotional. A lot of adults spend years blaming themselves for these patterns. They call themselves anxious, overly sensitive, perfectionistic, controlling, people-pleasing, emotionally distant, but often those behaviors didn't appear randomly. Most strict parents genuinely believed they were helping. Many were repeating what they learned. Many were trying to prepare their children for a difficult world. Many acted from love. But intentions and outcomes are not always the same thing. Sometimes people can love you deeply and still leave emotional patterns behind. And recognizing those patterns isn't an act of resentment. It's an act of awareness. Because you cannot change what you refuse to see. And this is where things begin to shift. And honestly, I think that's one of the hardest lessons for people raised by strict parents. Because mistakes are not evidence that you failed. They're evidence that you're human. So if you recognized yourself somewhere in this video, especially the guilt, the pressure, the overthinking, or the feeling that you always need to be doing more, I hope you remember something important. Your brain adapted to the environment it grew up in. A lot of what you call personality may actually be protection, and protection is not weakness. It's your mind trying to keep you safe using strategies it learned a long time ago. But you don't have to keep carrying every strategy forever. Some of them can be updated. Some of them can be softened. Some of them can be replaced. And maybe the next time you catch yourself feeling guilty for resting, afraid of making a mistake, or convinced that you're never doing enough, pause for a moment and ask yourself honestly, is this what I truly believe? Or is this a rule I learned a long time ago? Because those are not always the same thing. And if this kind of psychology content helps you understand yourself a little more clearly, or makes you feel a little less alone in the invisible experiences many people carry quietly, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like more videos exploring emotional exhaustion, relationships, attachment patterns, self-awareness, overthinking, and the hidden psychology behind everyday behaviors, consider subscribing.